Hello YouTube, we've got another YouTube exclusive. Kaldheim is out and we're able to get some of the cards in order to play some Magic. Now there's two very popular type of archetypes going around. There is a Tibalt's Trickery. Well, we won't be touching that. We all know about Emrakul's and Ulamogs coming off of Cascade. But there's also a perhaps more fair way, Tibalt, but it's the backside of a card. Jund Cosmic Tibalt here. Let's see how often we can spin in to Tibalt's new form. Jund. Jund. Everyone likes to play a little bit of Jund. It is the most traditional way of interacting with your opponents and swinging creatures for damage. Now, Jund has gotten an interesting toy recently from Kaldheim, and that is Valki, God of Lies. But Valki, God of Lies, is not necessarily what you want to play, although you could. And Valki is reading whenever it enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. Now, this is kind of interesting for Commander, but we're going to be looking at it in a 1v1 in Modern. For each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed, until it leaves the battlefield. Then for X, you can choose a creature card exiled this way with the converted mana cost of X and basically copy it onto Valki. So this is kind of interesting because you could end up removing something from your opponents, but also then getting to play it. What we're more interested in doing, though, is Bloodbraid Elf cascading into Valki, God of Lies. This allows us to play the other half, which is Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter. Tibalt Cosmic Imposter comes into battlefield, and you get an emblem basically saying whenever you have this emblem and whatever it is exiled with Tibalt, you can play. So that's kind of an interesting thing. You're getting to exile cards with the plus ability from libraries. You're getting to exile target artifacts or creatures from the grave or from the battlefield with the minus ability, and the -8 gets rid of all graveyards, and you get to really start using some sweet mana. Keeping in mind that your mana can be used for any color when casting these exiled cards. Now, the version we've taken here has two Valkis, and basically in general is Jund without any other big modifications here. We have your Inquisitions, your Thoughtseizes, you're going to be trying to swing in with Tarmogoyfs and Bloodbraid Elves. We have an addition of Kroxa here. We've got our Lilianas and Seasoned Pyromancers. That being said, I'd actually like to try to spin into Valki a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and add one Valki, and we're going to get rid of probably a Kroxa here and just see how this works out for us. Remember, this may not be the most optimal approach. However, we will be having Bloodbraids hopefully spinning into Valkis. That is the goal of this league. Otherwise, we've got traditional Jund things. We've got some Boils in the sideboard as well. Boils are for those Uro matchups that we may run into. Veil is very prevalent currently, being the green counter spell of choice. We have some Surgicals here since we're going to be maybe getting some things into the graveyard through discard. Engineered Explosives is fine. We have 3 colors, and we have an Ashiok sitting here as well. List is pretty sweet. Other than that one adjustment, we're going to go ahead and give it a run. This got a 4-0 in a preliminary. We'll see how we do in our match. Let's get into it. Let's see if we can cascade and spin the wheel into Tibalt, Cosmic Imposter. Let's begin. Nice. All right. Jund in Modern. Trying to get our Valkis going here. And maybe we will. We never know. After all, it's a little bit of a random element to the list. Now, if we don't spin into one of these, it is a good 7 mana to play, and that's not totally unreasonable. However, it's going to be a little less likely. We'll see what we get here. Let's play our first match. Jund, Tibalt, Cosmic Tibalt in Modern. Here we are. Let's begin. Opponent found. All right. We do not get to go first. Okay with us. We don't always have to be going first with the list here. Opening hand looks okay. We do have Bloodbraid. We have a removal spell. Yeah, this, I think we're okay. Say hello to our opponent. I think we can go ahead and keep this. Look to maybe curve out We do have this Renin 6, probably going to have to play Raging Ravine first, unless I see something that I want to immediately remove with, say, Lightning Bolt. Blood Crypt for our opponent, so probably Inquisition or Thoughtseize of their own. Let's play some Magic. May take the bolts, may take Renin 6 here. Renin 6 isn't getting us to our 4th land. After all, we do not have a fetch. Reasonable, though. Good start, I think. Solid hand. There goes Renin 6. Definitely easy Raging Ravine here. And pass the turn. I like the Forgotten Cave as a potential cantrip if we would like to do that. We'll see if that's what we want to do or if we want to look at putting this into play tapped. Opponent's Verdant Catacombs here, fetching, getting a basic forest, and finds themselves a Renin 6 of their own. We unfortunately cannot really bolt this down necessarily. They pick up a land. Now we do end up getting Valky here. Valky is a 2/1, doesn't interact well with Renin 6. However, what's interesting here is that Valky, they thought I was on Mono Red Prison. Joke's on you. Gotta get those YouTube exclusives in. Let's play Valky. It's gonna get shot by the Renin 6. I'm probably not playing the Tibalt side for some time here, but it will allow me to potentially get something from my opponent. And in this case, we have Skoos or Blood Beret Elf. I'll gladly take the Blood Beret Elf. This also gives me a little bit of seeing what they're doing here. Let's see here. We have 5. This should be gone. There we go. So it is a removal spell in a way. Renin 6 should pop this off without a problem. That will allow me to Lightning Bolt here or the Scavenging Ooze. Maybe putting the Forgotten Cave in sideways so that we can get the Bloodbraid Elf on curve. Verdant Catacombs. This was one of their cards. We've got Fatal Push here. Easily gets rid of this. And Scavenging Ooze. Probably worth it as well. Nice swamp. Look at that swamp. Bloodstained Mire, Fatal Push, Scavenging Ooze, Unknown card, and Renin 6 options. Again, Renin 6 isn't really going to worry too much about Valky, I think. Scavenging Ooze currently does not grow. 1, they only have 1 forest, and 2, there's no creatures in the yard. Best draw here might actually be a land, get to cycle the Forgotten Cave, or play the Liliana down. Opponent's probably considering whether they want to Renin 6 this or Fatal Push this. My opponent's got some basics in case we do play Blood Moon. No Blood Moons. Picks up the land. We have the Verdant Catacombs back in hand here. We'll remember that. And we decide to play Skoos. Holding up Fatal Push currently, and Renin 6 has been moved up 1. All right, we do hit our land here. This is super nice. There's a few things we could do. We could get rid of the Scavenging Ooze by down-ticking here. We could uptick. We could play Bolt to remove this and attack here. I think I like the idea of potentially getting Liliana down. That means I don't cycle the Forgotten Cave, but we don't have to always be cycling everything, right? We don't have to. Let's go ahead and get a basic here. I don't think we're going to get punished for doing so. We can always cycle this a little bit later. Let's go ahead and kill the Scavenging Ooze by down ticking and attack with Valky. And hopefully that's right. Thinking if this is the correct name. We care about Tibalt, that's what we care about. Fatal Push as well. All right. Sounds like a reasonable turn here. We have Bloodbraid coming down. We're going to spin in and hopefully hit one of the gods. You never know. We put 3 of them in. Bloodstained Verdant and 3 unknowns for our opponent. Renin 6 is traveling up here. Probably will have to say Bloodbraid in at the Renin 6 regardless of the resulting cards after. Keeping in mind that just about anything with the Bloodbraid Elf would be pretty dandy. Bloodstained Mire is played. I'm going to hold this here because they likely put it back into hand with the Renin 6. They could also use this just to ping off Liliana briefly. We are going to spin the wheel, it looks like. Bloodbraid spins into Lightning Bolts. Okay. Bolt me, Renin 6 there. Nope. They decide to use the Bolt on Lily, attack for 3, and pick up Bloodstain Mire. We have Verdant and Bloodstain, and 2 unknowns. They may not attack either. They know the Bloodbraid Elf is going to show up here. Okay. Let's go ahead and play our Bloodbraid. We want to do this. We want to spin into things. Spin into a Thoughtseize. Well, we'll go ahead and fire that off. Not the scariest thing. K-Command and a Liliana of the Veil. Well, K-Command's not the scariest thing, although it would allow them to pick something back up. Liliana is a little bit annoying to deal with. Not the worst, though. Wonder if I can deal with a Liliana. I suppose I could. Let's go ahead and get rid of the K command here. Leave them with Liliana. We'll definitely go ahead and attack Renin 6. We'll see if they want to block here. I assume they will. We're going to see a Liliana. We'll just get rid of Blackcleave Cliffs probably. And look at maybe doing Cycle plus Bolt Renin 6 here. After all, I do not really want this to be in play. Renin 6 plus Liliana is a nice combination that they've got going on. But I think rebuying, say, Bloodbraid Elf there would just be not happy days. Discarding, we'll discard Blackcleave Cliffs. Seems reasonable. Bloodstain Mire here. They'll pick up Bloodstain Mire. I'll hold these cards here briefly. We know 2 of the 3 cards. They replay Bloodstain Mire. I'm going to hold it here just briefly. Okay. Well, we have a Raging Ravine. This would get rid of Liliana. I don't know 1 card for them. The other thing worth considering is at least the Renin 6 here. If I do attack, though, we have a risk that this gets killed by, say, Fatal Push or Bolt. I'm going to go ahead and cycle because of that potential risk here, because we can always bolt Renin 6 pretty safely. Okay, let's go ahead and bolt Renin 6 here. We'll play a Soul Guide Lantern out, and at this point I'm going to get rid of that Bloodbraid Elf just because I know they have K commands they can use. And we'll pass the turn. Good to be empty-handed here. For the Liliana, we can definitely use a Soul Guide Lantern next turn. 2 things at 4. They go ahead and go for this. Wondering if I care about the Bloodstain Mire or if I'd rather draw. I don't think I care as much about Bloodstain Mire here. We'll allow them to have that. Obviously, this is buying them a little bit of extra with Liliana here. They just get rid of the Bloodstain again. They have a Verdant Catacombs. Let's go and put both of these. Let's go ahead and use our Soul Guide. Inquisition and a Tarmogoyf. Boot up Inquisition here, attack Liliana, force Liliana to be an uptick, or play Tarmogoyf just to have this down ticked on us. Let's go ahead and boot up Raging Ravine and look to attack. I suppose on the last turn, I could have tried to do this, but if my opponent has the bolt, they can interact right here versus having tapped down. My opponent is fetching, doesn't mean they have a Fatal Push or anything here, but they may. Blood Crypt, tapped, all that good stuff. Up to 4 and connects. Connects. Sweet. All right. Inquisitions us. We'll lose a card, and then they'll uptick with Liliana here. And they'll uptick with Ren as well. They pick up the Bloodstained Mire again. Discarding. They'll discard probably that Bloodstained Mire. All right. We have a Ren in 6 that I've got to be a little bit careful of. Verdant Catacombs and one Unknown. We actually hit a Bloodbraid Elf. I like this as my option instead of trying to just boot up a Raging Ravine. Let's go ahead and do it like this. Ta-da! Spin the wheel. All right, I'll take a Tarmogoyf. It's not the worst thing to run into. Bloodbraid Elf will go ahead and attempt to hit Lily, although it looks like they might have a Fatal Push here. Overgrown Tomb. Let's get rid of this Liliana, and then we'll be going after Ren in 6. Nice. Jund versus Jund. Getting the Jund things done. All right, they have a Bolt. They use that. Do we have a Chump Blocker of sorts? We have a new Liliana. So we'll downtick and we're going to pick up a card here. All right, they picked up a Verdant Catacombs. New Bloodbraid, spin in the wheel. This is what we want to be doing. Spin into Season Pyro. I'll take that, draw a few new cards. And we have to now attack the Ren in 6 to keep this on check here. Just want to keep it on check one more turn here. If they go up, we get rid of Thoughtseize, hopefully the Abrupt Decay. Once again, they have a Verdant Catacombs and an Unknown card here. Hitting another creature off of our Bloodbraid Elf feels pretty good. We've used 3 of our 4 Bloodbraids. We may not be wheeling into Tibalt this time around. Get rid of this Thoughtseize, not too worried about that. The Verdant Catacombs comes back to the graveyard. Picks up the Bloodstained Mire instead this time. Bloodstained Mire in hand. Bouncing between the 2 fetch lands as they choose. Luckily, there's no peat land currently for the Ren and 6 to be getting a lot of value off of, which is really important. Right now, it looks like we're ahead, just because we know they have 1 spell, unless it's a Thoughtseize they're deciding to use. But even if it's a Thoughtseize, they take Abrupt Decay, and I can get rid of Ren or Liliana. I can actually get rid of both due to Raging Ravine. This would be 5, 8, 9, 10. I could put them also to 2. What do you got for us, opponent? What do you got? All right, we have some action here. Choosing to play a K command. So we end up discarding here our Abrupt Decay. They picked up a Scavenging Ooze. Gets to play the Scavenging Ooze with 2 green mana open. Plays a land down, perhaps 3 green mana open. Eats. And probably eats again. I would imagine they have another Overgrown Tomb. So we have a 4/4 here. Well, I top deck a land here. Looks like I'm going to go ahead and boot up Raging Ravine and go in. How many more creatures do we have here? They have none, and we have Valky, it looks like. Plus Tarmogoyf and Tarmogoyf. Let's send 2, send 2 at Liliana and 1 at Ren and 6. This will make this a 5/5. It will trade with Scavenging Ooze, or they're chump blocking, or not chump blocking, they're just blocking one of these and saving their Scavenging Ooze here. They may also just want to keep Scavenging News around. Decides Seasoned Pyromancer's worth blocking here. And they're going to go ahead and probably eat said... Oh, no green. They'll have to eat it here. We end up not playing the Blackcleave Cliffs in. There's probably no reason to be actually holding this, so small little... Won't call it a blunder necessarily, but we'll see if it pays off or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't quite get us to Valky as well if we end up top decking that. This is a 6-6 here. It could become a 7-7, which is a reasonably sized Scavenging News. We do have plenty of ways to potentially get rid of Scavenging News, though. Like that. All right, so in this instance, I don't get to actually attack with Raging Ravine and have the Fatal Push, which is okay. We'll go ahead and Fatal Push now instead of waiting. Even though there's not but just one creature here, I don't want them to be eating a few more things in our graveyard. We do, after all, play Kroxa. Speaking of... Let's go ahead and play Kroxa here. I don't get to attack. We don't have quite enough to boot up or rebuy Kroxa here. However, making them discard seems fine. We'll attack with our 3-2 here and hope they have no way to get rid of our Kroxa in the yard. They ended up getting rid of a Thoughtseize. Could be another Inquisition or Thoughtseize. Those are typical things that Jund will hold on to. And with that, we get game number 1 against Jund. Nice. Good start. Good start. Fatal Pushes look good. Engineered, maybe Veil. Probably these are the most interesting to me. Big question is, do we continue to run our Tibalt here? Exiling a creature with a -3 does feel fairly good if we do get this, and taking creatures seems all right as well. So I'm tempted to go ahead and keep it. I'm wondering what would make sense here. I think definitely some Fatal Pushes. We could probably start there. I'm going to go ahead and take the Soul Guide Lanterns out because I'd rather have removal instead of the Soul Guide Lanterns. Just because the Soul Guide Lanterns, yes, they could stop perhaps their own Kroxas. I don't want to worry about that. Veil of Summer is definitely something that's interesting here, especially for all the black that my opponent could be playing. Would counter things like Abrupt Decays and Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes. Maybe it's not worth it and more like an Engineered Explosive is, though we do have quite a few things on 2 and we don't necessarily just want to blow up an Engineered and lose our stuff. I'm almost tempted not to overboard here. They saw the Kroxa at the end. It's also plausible that I just not worry about playing the Kroxa. I could take out potentially also a Thoughtseize here and bring like a Singleton Veil in. I kind of like that plan. Let's do it. Let's not overboard here. Overboarding sometimes gets you into trouble. Happy with how we're going here. Let's see what our opening 7 looks like here. On the draw, more than likely, against our Jund opponent, the Jund Mirror, to start things off here in the league. All right. Very distinct lack of black here. 2 Seasoned Pyromancers. My opponent does keep... Sorry, mulls to 6. We could look to just do this with the idea that we have 2 dead cards, but if I top deck a land, we can start going after stuff. We do have removal here. I have 2 Seasoned Pyromancers too, and we already have the double red. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep. It's maybe a looser keep here, but it feels okay with my opponent having already mulliganed once, and probably going to go ahead and Thoughtseize or Inquisition us as their first play. Opponent keeps 6 here. Let's begin. Let's begin. How we'll lead here is more than likely the Raging Ravine and then look to maybe do this Forgotten Cave. No turn 1 for my opponents. All right, we do pick up a Tarmogoyf. Pretty good. We'll be a little bit slow as we go here, but that's all right. We've kind of signed up for the slower hand here with some good top end pressure. If we don't find that black mana, we can always do Seasoned Pyromancer ditching the 2 cards here. Okay. Again, a bit of a slow hand here. This looks like a starting Liliana or something like that. Not so concerned about a Liliana here. We'll ditch an Inquisition. And I think I'm going to go ahead and bolt this with the idea that if we do top deck another land, we have the Seasoned Pyromancer here. We don't, unfortunately. I can get a Tarmogoyf down, though, and that's not going to get killed by Liliana just yet. Just yet. I expect my opponent to have another spell, though. More than likely a creature to block. Probably Bloodbraid Elf. They may have also just straight interaction here. Scavenging Ooze. No creatures in the yard currently, but they could shrink this by getting rid of either the Inquisition or the Bolt. They would have to get rid of Bolt because I have a Thoughtseize to pitch to the Liliana. They decide to get rid of the Inquisition, which I don't think is the right play here. We'll see, though. And Lightning Bolts. It is the right play because they have a Lightning Bolt. Makes sense now. We'll get rid of our Thoughtseize. Definitely looking for a way to get this Seasoned Pyromancer down. All right, we hit another tap land, unfortunately for us. Once again, we do have a Thoughtseize to pitch to this Liliana. Raging Ravine and uptick here. No worries from us. Would love to get Bloodbraid Elf down. We have one Tarmogoyf here, so this is a max a 3/3. We'll see if they decide defending is better than attacking us. I'd probably defend here. We haven't really been doing anything for the first few turns here, but they decide 3 damage is worth it. All right, we get to spin the wheel with a Seasoned Pyromancer here. Gonna ditch more than likely our Seasoned and a Bloodbraid Elf. We do find our land. We put that into play tapped and pass the turn. Things are starting to look pretty good here, although we are allowing the Scavenging Ooze to grow. I'm not concerned about that because we're looking to potentially find removal or Tibalt off of Bloodbraid Elf. Fingers crossed, no Inquisition or Thoughtseize before they do the uptick with Liliana here. My opponent does have 2 blockers here, Raging Ravine and Scavenging Ooze, if they decide to do nothing but defend. This is good. We're getting to see both sides of Jund here, and it's making us really think about what our position is. I like this. Ooh. Ooh. It's a really good timed Valky here. Valky gets to take our Bloodbraid Elf. This will allow Valky to convert into a Bloodbraid Elf next turn if they would like to. This is an easy uptick here for them, and we're going to lose our Blackleaf Cliffs. This is an excellent time for that to show up. Scavenging Ooze is a 5/5 here whenever they do use it to grow, which will be right now. I will probably take 5 if they decide to attack us. No attacks. All right. Abrupt Decay is a really nice draw. Now, keep in mind, this just becomes a copy, so it's going to be a 3/2 for 4 mana if they want. We don't have any other creatures here. I could swing with everything trying to make this 2 on loyalty. I'm going to swing with everything and see what they do here. The Abrupt Decay is interesting because they might do Valky to Seasoned Pyromancer, and I get to Abrupt Decay the Scavenging Ooze. All right, I'm not exactly ready to lose my Seasoned Pyromancer here. I'm doing 2 to Liliana here. I could Abrupt Decay here, but I'm going to Abrupt Decay Scavenging Ooze because a 3/2 Valky doesn't scare me. Do this, they'll probably eat 2 more things to either shrink or do some manipulation of the graveyards here. We keep a 2/2, and I like keeping this 2/2 because if we do some sort of trading here, I won't be able to use Seasoned Pyromancer immediately. And now we have 3 attackers in at Liliana unless they decide to cash in. And again, this is just a 3/2, nothing super special. It's not getting the Cascade ability. We do have a Raging Ravine here as well. Both things die to Fatal Push. One thing dies to Abrupt Decay. I think we're okay. If they want to continue going up with Liliana, they're losing their card or having to play it. And so we won't have any instant speed tricks either from our opponent. Fatal Push doesn't get rid of Seasoned Pyromancer. Does get rid of a Raging Ravine if we top deck, say, a land. Otherwise, I like our position here. Really, this game 2, is probably going to come down to who top decks either like a Croxa if they're playing it, or who top decks Bloodbraid Ale first, or the removal spell first. It's going to be that first piece of interaction or that extra value. That's what's going to win this game. So we're top deck mode. Jun's good at that, though. Decides to cash in Liliana here. Get rid of an elemental token. It's pretty easy. Do we have another Liliana? Are we going to just double cash in here? Boots up a Raging Ravine as well. Okay, they like whatever card they have. They're going to maybe attack us for 6 damage. Okay. Seems reasonable. I could attack back for a similar amount now, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Especially since I think I'll attack with just the Elemental and the Raging Ravine. This gives me an option to block with Seasoned Pyromancer. If they have that removal that we were talking about here, then they might remove and not get to boot up with Raging Ravine, which is fine. Seasoned Pyromancer blocks Valky here if they have the open mana to convert it to a 3/2. What do you got? What do you got for us, Jund? They liked whatever they did top deck. There's some thought put into that by sacrificing the Liliana just for a token. One thing we can also do is we could boot up a Raging Ravine number 2 without the counter and kind of spread out our counters. So if we do lose one to a Fatal Push, we don't lose all of the counters that are maybe on 1. Green mana currently floated here. Reconsidering. Even if they have, say, Abrupt Decay to get rid of this and get to attack in. They do nothing here. Alright, so my opponent's got some sort of interaction here. I don't really want to be taking on a Raging Ravine necessarily unless I'm booted up my own. I think we can go ahead and boot up our own here, going and fetching basic Forest this time around. I think the play is just to see what they have here. We're going to boot up this Raging Ravine, and we're going to just smack in here. This Raging Ravine avoids a 3/2 from here and trades with this Raging Ravine. We're going to leave everything else on defense. We are at 9 life. This is getting a little bit sketchy here in terms of our life total. Looks like we might have a Bolt. All right. That Raging Ravine doesn't play around Bolt, which is completely fine. At the same time, they might just Valky and then Bolt as well. Assassin's Trophy, my other Raging Ravine. All right, we have double black, green, and a mountain. I'm able to get a mountain and swamp. I'll just get an extra swamp here. Okay. Well, they might boot up Raging Ravine now, and we'll be taking some serious damage here. I think this is a pretty easy chump with Seasoned Pyromancer on the Raging Ravine, or at least trade them out. If we are doing any trading here, we trade Seasoned Pyromancer for Valky and chump here, not the other way around, in case my opponent has a Fatal Push, which they can get rid of if they're holding this as long as they can. Soul Guide Lantern here. It's a pretty good answer to Croxa. Thankfully, we're running only 1. This does mean no combat or anything crazy like that. Let's go ahead and attack with the Seasoned Pyromancer here. Now that we have a Tarmogoyf, I'm feeling a little bit more safe to go ahead and put some pressure on my opponent. We will play Tarmogoyf, no real reason to hold. Go ahead, opponent. They'll have a draw from Soul Guide and a draw for their turn. This is now 5/6 and easily kills the Raging Ravine due to the artifact going to the graveyard as well. Pretty beefy Tarmogoyf if you ask me. We've got also this nice token here to avoid Liliana Edicts currently. Wrenn and 6, this is okay to see. They'll pick up a land? No, they'll pick off and play Verdant Catacombs. All right, we're clear for takeoff here. We end up not finding anything necessarily, but I think we can easily go ahead and attack the Wrenn and 6 down. If we attack with both here and they don't block, this is going to be... They can make this into a 3/2, so that's 3, and this would be 6. That would be lethal. Let's attack Wrenn and 6 with just the Seasoned Pyromancer. Need to block something here. Leaving up the Tarmogoyf in case they want to boot up Raging Ravine. Trade's a little bit nicer. Land and go. All right. Will my opponent find that removal that they need? That is the question here. Plenty of mana for my opponent. I need them to whiff one more time and for me to then find something like... Ooh, Plague Engineer names Elemental perhaps. This is a good blocker against our Tarmogoyf. And they do. Nice. I like that. Good plays. Okay. Gives us back the turn here. We've got a Lightning Bolt. Well, I think it's a pretty easy Lightning Bolt the Plague Engineer and send maybe the Tarmogoyf in now. Because we're just trying to threaten killing them in a few turns. Got the removal right in response to their Plague Engineer. Feels pretty good thus far. Seasoned Pyromancer is a great blocker. My opponent does take the 5. We do have 5 mana available to us in the event that Seasoned Pyromancer gets the axe through Abrupt Decay or something else. My opponent finds their own Tarmogoyf here. All right, things get interesting from here forward. We're looking for Fatal Push or Abrupt Decay or Maelstrom Pulse. Probably still no attacks here. I can't imagine this attacks and they burn the 3/2 with the 2/2 on the other side of the battlefield. Remember, this is game 2 here. My opponent's got 6 minutes left. Top deck. Kroxa. All right. We can play. We can't quite rebuy Kroxa, but we'll get it next turn. We do hit them for some serious damage here, though, and we'll defend with everything we've got. Go ahead, opponent. If this Tarmogoyf was here, you can bet we would be attacking with our Tarmogoyf. Our 1-of Kroxa shows up. I think next turn, the only thing that would stop me from playing Kroxa is potentially a removal spell or a Bloodbraid Elf. Thinking a removal spell would allow my own Tarmogoyf to get in for damage and potentially lethal. And honestly, most of our removal spells are 1 or 2. We would have enough to end up playing Kroxa right after. So I think Bloodbraid's really that question mark. And based on what we're trying to do this league, I think we want a Bloodbraid. Opponents decided to go to combat here and attacks with a 5/6 Goyf. All right, we could take this 5 here. If we end up taking the 5, we go to 4. I could also decide this is the time to Seasoned Pyromancer. We don't know what they have left. If it's a bolt here, they use the bolt in order to clear the Tarmogoyf in response to the block here. I think I'm just going to block with the Seasoned Pyromancer here and use Tarmogoyf to threaten lethal back at them. We don't get to cash in the Seasoned Pyromancer. We'll hope they don't have Scavenging Ooze. It's a Liliana. Okay. They downtick here, or they uptick? Downtick Tarmogoyf. So we're probably playing Kroxa here. We are. Red, red, black, black. Let's just get rid of some lands here. Try not to really shrink down the Tarmogoyf here. Down to 2. So our attack is lethal. We will obviously be blocking here. If they have a bolt, they have a bolt. They're coming in for 5, 6, 7 anyway. Doesn't matter how I block. So this is definitely bolt or fatal push or bust here. We'll block whatever we need to. We won't cash in this Bloodstain Mire in case the math needs to be worked out for that 3 extra points somewhere. This is 3 potential damage as well, but that would mean they don't get their Raging Ravine. I think we have this, and if we don't have this, we may just have game 3 on time. Going to combat, looking for us to make a mistake. Holds the card, so that may not mean Kroxa is lethal. This is a pretty easy attack here. The one thing that we'll lose to is a top tech Plague Engineer, but I want to threaten this and double check that top card. It happened to be a Renin 6. I like my opponent's play here thus far. I'm going to hold Bloodstain Mire, and we're going to use the Seasoned Pyromancer. Keeping in mind, though, that whatever they do block with, they will lose. So we're not too worried here, because if it's Plague Engineer, they won't kill me on the swing back, because Raging Ravine won't get to join Valky on the way. So this is a very safe block. The question probably from my opponent, though, is do we do Valky plus Tarmogoyf and pump Valky here? I will put Tarmogoyf obviously in front to end up doing this, but they do trade away the Kroxa. If we do that, I can actually fetch, and kill them. They don't know this because they don't know what this card is, but a double fetch here would put enough cards to allow me to buy back Kroxa. So they actually don't want Kroxa to die here. And it really doesn't matter if I have fetchable lands here, because the Kroxa can be paid for. So chump with Valky here. Seems reasonable. Oh, I get Bloodbraid Elf back. Wait a minute. Oh, until it leaves the battlefield. Oh, baby. Well, then I just want to play that next turn. Plague Engineer. 1, 2, 3. Gets rid of the elementals. 1, 2, 3. And then Tarmogoyf, but I'm going to shrink Tarmogoyf potentially. No, they have everything too. So shrinking this won't happen. 1, 2, 3. They would attack with Tarmogoyf, which is a 5, 6. So I'm okay to go ahead and do the Seasoned Pyromancer here. Hold both of these cards and just go ahead and answer this. Because if it's Plague Engineer, we're getting the Bloodbraid Elf the following turn. We're attacking. This is 3 damage anyway. I don't see an out for them, but I could be wrong. Scavenging Ooze eat a whole bunch of stuff. Soul Guide Lantern's a rebuy here. Takes a Tarmogoyf. Makes us discard. This is a pretty easy Bloodbraid Elf before combat here. Draws. Peatland. Redraw. They're digging deep. At this point, I have no idea what they could draw here to save themselves. They need to be able to block more than one thing. Let's go. Spinning the wheel just to see if we can get Tibalt here. Not quite, but we do get a Veil. I'll go ahead and cast Veil. Protection spells. Fatal pushes. And we'll fatal push back. We end up drawing as well, which is pretty sweet. In we go. All the damage at them. And clear. 1-0 with Jund in the mirror. And I think we played that reasonably well. We'll see if we can spin our way into a Tibalt Cosmic one here. But that one, not so much. Good results, though. And Jund doing Jund things. Jund, after all, was going to win match 1. We'll see you in match 2, coming up next. The 1-0 start. Has Tibalt blessed us here, or did we just get lucky? In fact, we were reminded also, this has a downside. When it disappears, they don't get their creature, or they get their creature back. Interesting. Be aware of that. Match 2, let's go. Jund. Jund him out. My opponent is always lurking. Interesting. Alright, opening hand. We have a Bloodbraid Elf, Brennan 6, Fetch Land, and Fatal Push. Our mission is to wheel into Tibalt. Let's do this. We'll keep. Only thing better would probably be one of these Bloodbraids being a Thoughtseize or Inquisition, but having a Fatal Push here is really nice. Get to attack my opponent here, and hopefully, with a little bit of luck, get to kill something. Unclaimed territory makes me think we're going to get to do that. Champion played. Alright, Blackcleave Cliffs here, pretty simple. We'll pass the turn. I feel pretty safe doing a Fatal Push on their turn, so that's what we'll do. Maelstrom Pulse doesn't appear to be a bad card to have here either. Not to mention Renin 6 can hit quite a few things. There is a freebooter. Well, we're going to go ahead and Fatal Push Champion. They could end up taking my Renin 6 here. That would be a little bit disappointing for us as we're trying to make our way up to 4 mana for Bloodbraid Elf. However, they may also just take the Maelstrom Pulse here. Depends if they have things like Thalia or more X1s where Renin 6 would be problematic for them. Keeping in mind we don't have to play Raging Ravine if we do get to play Renin 6, as we'll be using the Verdant Catacombs to ramp us up. A tough hand, for sure, and they don't get to take these, I believe. It's a non-creature, non-land card. So they have Pulse or Renin 6. To me, I think they should take Renin 6 here, only because it has the biggest chance to just continuously get us further to these Bloodbraid Elves and bigger things. But it's not easy. Pulse is definitely something you don't want to see. If they had a follow-up one of these, it's an easy Renin 6, the following turn, play it and get rid of the Pulse. But I think that's not what they have, based on this delay. My opponent takes the Renin 6. No big surprises there. We'll just play Raging Ravine and pass the turn. We don't have anything to do until next turn where we have a Maelstrom Pulse. Hand is looking pretty good against humans though. We'll see how much damage they can put on the battlefield. Pulse may be delayed once with the Thalia, if that is what they have. That's okay. Wonder if Jund is a good matchup for this. I imagine we've got reasonable things to do. Opponent attacks us for 1, going to second main. Will they play anything? I would hope so. Just a Vial? Cantrips or Horizon Canopy. Interesting. Oh my gosh. This poor human being. I don't think I care about this Kitestale Freebooter. Do I really? I can't decide if that's worth a Maelstrom Pulse or not. There's probably bigger threats coming. Let's just take a stomping ground here. Just not shock in. That's 2 attacks through Kite's Tail, and we'll load up the board here. Could have fetched to take 1 instead of shocking here on the Blood Crypt. Maybe small sequencing here. I don't want them to know that I have a Blood Crypt though, so that information I'm willing to take the 2 damage for. Also, my opponent deciding to Horizon Canopy instead of playing more things makes me think there's something bigger and juicier for Pulse. Watch it be another freebooter. Then I will just shrug. Just shrug. Opponent goes to attack. See, they don't know what this Blood Crypt is, so this is making them doubt their play here. I like this. Causing worry for our human opponent. No Blood Moons, unfortunately, in the sideboard. Will you play something? I would think you need to at some point. We have what? Reflector Mage? Meddling Mage? Ooh, Meddling Mage would be a reason to keep this one. Ooh. Meddling Mage, do you name the removal or do you name the Blood Braids? Luckily, we have an answer for this. They choose Bloodbraid Elf. Nice. All right. Super easy here. We're just going to go ahead and pulse this away. Nothing else to do this turn due to the Bloodbraid Elf being named. Go ahead. Cool. All right. Pretty happy so far. We'll see if they have another Meddling Mage. They could. Another freebooter looks a little awkward, especially since I have all creatures. That being said, if they have a follow-up Meddling Mage, they could shut us down pretty easily here. We have a 4/5 and a couple 3/2s, opponent. Don't worry, you can't take any of them. Please don't have Meddling Mage. We'll be loading up a Bloodbraid Elf first. It's the most mana-efficient thing to do. And also, having 3 of those, maybe not a great thing if my opponent does have that Meddling Mage. Thalia's Lieutenant's pretty good here. Does grow some of these Kite's Tail freebooters, making them 2/3s. All right. Well, we don't care about Thoughtseize. Spin the wheel. What do we get? Lightning Bolt's pretty good. Lightning Bolt's pretty good. Let's go ahead and Lightning Bolt so we can get this Renin 6 back. That could be beneficial for us. Got this Bloodbraid Elf down. Let's go ahead and swing as well. Willing to trade a 2/3 for a 2/3. Absolutely happy to do so. If my opponent does nothing here, no creatures, there is value potentially of Renin 6 downtick on Thalia along with Tarmogoyf. My opponent Reflector Mages. This prevents future Bloodbraids, so it looks like we're doing Ren plus Tarmogoyf. Got a 2/2, 2/3, and a 2/3. Hits for 4, down to 11. Okay. Could Thoughtseize. Could Thoughtseize just to check what this last card is, and then we have the Tarmogoyf. I actually kind of like the idea of a Thoughtseize here. I know I'm taking damage and they've got a flyer. At least checking makes me feel smart about my play here. Going to 8 is risky. However, we've got all these Bloodbraid Elves. I'm feeling confident, though maybe I shouldn't be. Play a Tarmogoyf here. We'll go ahead and play a Renin 6 as well. I suppose we'll pick up something and pass the turn. All right, so we know it's just an Ancient Ziggurat here. And we know we can block just about everything in the battlefield. So we're looking good here. We'll see if they play something different. Scariest things would be another Reflector Mage type effect here. But if we can hold with the Tarmogoyf in play here, followed up with a few Bloodbraids, feeling pretty good. Only got a few turns to find a way to get rid of the Kite Sail. Phantasmal on the Reflector Mage means we die here. Not a whole lot I can do against that. Even taking the 2 like I did here, we were hoping to catch a Phantasmal instead of the Ancient Ziggurat. This is 7 damage, puts me to 1 here. Can't ever use Wooded Foothills. Bloodbraid Elf into Seasoned Pyromancer with a Fatal Push is about our only out here. Yeah. We'll also leave up a bolt here, but we basically need... Yeah, we need a Seasoned Pyromancer here to make enough defenders and a removal spell for the creature in the air. Worth spinning and looking. We end up getting Valky here. We're gonna do the Tibalt side. We did what we wanted to. That works, right? This is now information my opponent has. This unfortunately doesn't get it for us, so we'll go ahead and just concede. Save us a little bit of time here. My opponent just attacks us. There's an Abrupt Decay. That could have been nice. There's the Bolt. We need that Seasoned Pyromancer, though. All right. Engineereds look good. Fatal Pushes look pretty decent here as well. Maybe an Ancient Grudge. Maybe not. Soul Guide Lanterns are a no-go here. I could take one Thoughtseize. That seems fine. This may also be one of the Valkyries here. Getting this bounce and them getting their creature back seems a little bit hit or miss. Valky's great, but Bloodbraid Elf has a lot of things we could run into that we like a little bit better. I don't know if it's worth this Ancient Grudge in here. I don't think I really care because I do have Valky that I could get Tibalt and exile Artifact. That's something we could do. I don't know if it's worth it to have the Ancient Grudge early or not. I'm thinking that I'd almost prefer a Thoughtseize if I wanted to go that route. We also have the Engineered Explosives that can be put on one and get rid of things like that as well. Removals we're looking at are Abrupt Decay, Maelstrom Pulse, and Engineered Explosive. Fatal Pushes and Lightning Bolts here. And then Liliana Edicts aren't too bad, along with the Tibalt side here. Renin 6 is a pseudo removal, but we won't put him over here. Looks good. We got about 12-ish removal spells. I think it'll work. Jund, gonna destroy some stuff. And we can lead with a Thoughtseize. That seems fine. We'll keep. Renin 6 isn't the greatest thing here on turn 2. We'll see. We'll see. Renin 6 gets to ping something off. We can definitely play for that. Let's go. All right. Couple Kite Sails, couple Aether Vials, couple Champions. Kind of want to take a Champion here. Take a Champion so the Renin 6 is just that much more powerful. It may not matter because Aether Vial will be up 1 and maybe they'll have a second land here too. We'll see though. We'll see if they want to do Aether Vial plan or if they want to do Champion plan here. Fetch land's best for us for the Renin 6. But if we don't find it, it's okay. Opponent opts for that Aether Vial. We found the Stomping Ground. Woo! Thank goodness. Hitting it's good here. We can continue on our way up. Getting to Liliana and Bloodbraid soon seems fine. Now they can Kite Sail if they find a land. We'll see if they find that. It's got to be a land that produces black for them as well. Otherwise, we'll be looking at Champion and maybe Renin 6. Extra Aether Vial. All right. Now, we've screwed this card up a few times. We're not going to do it this time. We know what this can hit. We're going to make it happen. We're also going to do this before activation here of the Renin 6. So if they decide Champion needs to come in, Champion gets tagged with the Renin 6. And they are doing this. Poor Champion. You're dead. You're dead. Everything dies. Everything is dead. Nice. We have 2 removals here as well. So when they play Freebooter, unfortunately, we just get the removal that they take back. Feeling pretty strong here. Pretty strong. We'll be hanging on to Bloodbraid Elf for a turn or 2 here. I like our position now. I like it a lot. Steals? 8. Whatever you steal, I'm getting it back, opponent. Steal quickly. Sneak in. Steal the Liliana. All right. Maybe that makes sense, because if I get like another removal spell, it's probably more expensive. Cool. All right, our turn. Gotta be our turn. My turn, right? Another Ren 6 would be funny too. All right, Peatland looks fine here. Let's go ahead. Let's uptick here on the Bloodstained Mire. Let's go ahead and continue to thin out the library briefly. I'm gonna go get a basic mountain. I don't need anything super special here, because I'm going to just get this Kitesail Freebooter back, and then I'll have Bolt in hand. Your move, opponent. This is actually super nice here, as Freebooter doesn't have a target but the Bolt, so if they decide to play the Freebooter, I get to Bolt it. And then next turn, we get the Bloodbraid with Bolt back up. Opponent's done. I'm not surprised. Maelstrom Pulse was probably too much. Woo, Engineered coming. All right, any changes? Nope. Submit. Send it back. Away it all goes. Ooh, this is a tough one. We got a Seasoned Pyromancer that's not being cast. We have a Renin 6 that's really not being cast either. Although I can get an Engineered Explosives out pretty fast. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this and lean heavily on the Engineered Explosives. Could be a risk. I like the risk. Unclaimed Territory. Uh-oh. The risk is questionable. Well, at least I get to go get what appears to be Blood Crypt, double red here. Blood Crypt will give me the green as well. We got Thalia. We do. All right. Well, I've got a turn two. I've got a turn two. Valky. I could steal something from them. Huh. This is only a 1-2 here. Maybe it's worth stealing something. I don't know. Let's go for it. How bad could this be? I'm not casting the other side for infinity and beyond, so let's do this side. This is likely to snag something. Like almost 100% chance here. Unless my opponent's completely flooded out and decided Thalia was the queen. This allows me to Renin 6 down tick this too. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch of Auriok champions. Well, we have an EE for that. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I guess I can try to bait all these out and just take the Kitesail so they have no idea. Let's go for it. Renin 6, down tick on the Thalia seems okay. They smack it. Work themselves into a few of these to be played. I'm not going to block, opponent. You're good to go. Yep. I'm not giving you that back. Waterlogged Grove was the top deck. We can play one Auriok champion. I assume they should be playing one of these. Planeswalker in the bin is not so bad for Tarmogoyf as well. Auriok is here. Cool. All right, Renin 6 here. This will make it so I can play a Liliana next turn. At least we've got that going for us. It'll depend. My opponent could dismember here and then look to take this Engineered Explosives. Currently, they have not, though. So next turn, I'm more than likely getting the Engineered Explosives down on 2. We'll see, though. Auriok Champion it's kind of a needed thing here. Ooh, we have a Mantis Rider. Okay. Okay, Mantis Rider was a good top deck here. They do go after the Renin 6, so I'm not going to be picking up the Wooded Foothills. This does mean I don't have Seasoned Pyromancers. Land isn't the worst here. We do have a way to block Auriok Champions with the Tarmogoyf. I'm just so afraid of Dismember here and then getting to play the Kite Sail. I don't know if my opponent wants to take that much damage, though. Let's play this out and play a Liliana down, ticking the Liliana. Kind of just using these as removal. I doubt they get rid of the Mantis Rider, but you never know. You never know. Auriok Champion goes away because they have a few of these. Mantis Rider is within bolt range. It is a thing I can technically fatal push, so it's not looking like the worst option here. This is also going to probably gain us 3 life, helping us through this game. A little bit nicer. Nice. I don't know if they know that this is exile, but they could return it. Haven't figured out if they think this is a thing they can do yet. Auriok Champion number 2 played. And an Aether Bile. Alright. Alright. So we have things on 1, 2, and 3 here. The thing on 3 is the most scariest. I don't know if that warrants the engineered explosives here on 3. It could. Although pro black and pro red doesn't mean that Tarmogoyf can't chump block it for a while. And next turn I can play Tarmogoyf plus Seasoned Pyromancer if I put this at the 3. Dismember can kill Tarmogoyf, something to consider. Mantis Rider is going to be a pain to deal with. Putting on 2, we use God of Lies, and I don't like that idea necessarily here. Let's put the Engineered at 3. We'll give Mantis Rider 1 more attack here, and then we'll be deciding if we're doing Seasoned Pyromancer and Engineered, or if we're Tarmogoyf Engineered or something else. Really not too concerned right now of our life total. Ren plus Liliana took some nice sweet damage for us. Wonder if there's a way to save this. Maybe if I got a Bolt or something, I could play Tarmogoyf. They go to Dismember, blow up the world, plus Bolt something. Them, I guess. Putting creatures back into the yard. Putting an artifact. Okay. Kite Sail's not very good here. Sweet. It is another flyer. Would make me want the Engineered on 2. I do have a second Engineered that we can find at some point. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here, opponent. Move along. Move along. No takes. So now it's starting to really look like I gotta take care of that Mantis Rider. Just 3 damage and another 3. Looking like a Seasoned Pyromancer turn. Especially with the flyer and the Auriok Champion coming down. Probably Tarmogoyf EE or something like that. I don't know. Tarmogoyf does die to this member. Bleh. Particularly like seeing the land. Do I Seasoned Pyromancer? Getting rid of Seasoned Pyromancer. And land? I think we can. We don't have to. We don't have to put Tarmogoyf down. We can always hold it up here briefly. Okay, so we hit a Croxon, we hit a Bloodbraid Elf. Interesting. This feels like a pretty easy EE, just Explosion. And then Bloodbraid, maybe Tarmogoyf if we top deck a land. I like this. Gives me a chance to find an instant spell as well. Let's go. We know the 2 cards from my opponent. Now they'll have all their mana available to them. We do probably have to do this at combat here. I'm gonna take what appears to be 2 damage instead of 5. That's alright. It's looking alright. I need a way to save this Tarmogoyf if I can. That would be ideal. Not to mention Crocs is not a bad attacker and blocker here too. Excluding this lovely lady. What's funny is if they go now Dismembering here and try to look at our hand when we lose the God of Lies, it's not like Kitesail's doing much. Cavern of Souls found for my opponent off Waterlog Grove. 3 cards, Auriok, Dismember, and Unknowns. Swings with the team. We lose Seasoned Pyromancer, unfortunately, but we can always buy back later. Not like our Seasoned Pyromancer was getting through anyway, preventing a decent amount of damage. Alright, Renin 6, huh? Alright, Renin 6 picks up something, but I like the idea of spinning the wheel with the Bloodbraid Elf. It means I'm only playing 1 thing this turn, and I'm wondering if I should attempt to play 2 things. Could play 3. Let's think briefly here. We could do this, or we could do this for Croxa. We steal a card. It's either going to be the champion or the unknown, probably. If we do that, I can then follow up with a Renin 6 and uptick. I can get the Wooded Foothills and get an Overgrown Tomb. I shock him for the Overgrown Tomb. Do we like that idea? Or do we like something more spontaneous? Bloodbraid Elf could hit quite a few of these kinds of things as well. I could also get the Blackcleave Glyphs and just kind of ramp myself without taking damage. Tarmogoyf does block nicely, and that's why I'd like to have a second one, if possible. Having only 1 green is a bit awkward here with our triple green creatures. And I don't believe the list has another forest for us to fetch. So we'd fetch and shock. I could Renin 6 fetch shock and play Bloodbraid Elf. It's not a bad one. I don't hate that turn. I don't hate this. Fetch shock, it's a bit of damage. But who knows what we'll spin into Bloodbraid Elf and maybe kill this creature. We could also kill the Vial. Gives me my second green in case I top deck another green source here. We have 3 black, we have 3 red. Overgrown Tomb seems okay. Let's spin. Spin and see what we hit. A lot of good things. Aether Vial here in response. Auriok Champion. Makes sense. They want to gain some extra life here. Seasoned Pyro. Let's see what we went over. No, we've already revealed that. It was the first card we found. Tarmogoyf blocks but dismembers here. I know they gain a lot of life. We're gonna need some Tarmogoyfs here to get rid of the Auriok Champions. Let's cast Seasoned Pyromancer. Let's see what else we wheel into. 1 Tarmogoyf isn't getting us there. We could find our other engineered explosives and slap it on 2 and bring this game right back for us. Okay, Fatal Push isn't the worst thing to find here. It's a lot of triggers. Okay, like I said, one Tarmogoyf is probably not winning us this game. Especially since they have the Dismember. We're looking for that other engineered explosives. Really, that's what we're looking for. We're actually looking for the ability to use Croxa to maybe get rid of this Dismember. Go ahead, opponent. What a turn. And now I have 2 green. Feels all right. Do we want to dismember something? Getting rid of the dismember would be nice. Horizon Canopy is cantripped. Sounds good. Go ahead, opponent. They still haven't gotten rid of the God of Lies. At this point, they're just looking to probably get rid of the Tarmogoyfs. The Fatal Push does mean that the next Tarmogoyf would be big enough. So, we have that going for us. Which gets us around the Dismember, so 1 Tarmogoyf would be beneficial now. We do have it 3. Don't have any flyers, so my opponent could hit us for 3. We are threatening quite a bit back at them, though. Mantis Rider is an excellent draw for our opponent. In fact, Mantis Rider 3, 4, 5, 6 puts me to 2, making Auriok Champions now lethal. I have no way to block any of this in the air. It's pretty good. I do not know how we get out of this. That 1 Tarmogoyf definitely not doing it now. EE off the top for 2. Clear. Fatal Push this. Swing with the team. Pray no future Mantis Rider. That's probably our only out at this point. Probably our only out. But we've got one. We got to see that top one. Top deck, EE. Let's go. Oh my gosh. We've done it. Okay. How much damage can I do here? How much damage can we do? Can I do anything with this Kroxa? If I were to play Kroxa here, it would take red, red, black, black. No. So I have to just do EE here. So it's going to be EE for 2. This doesn't mean they're going to get the Valky. Okay. I'm going to uptick with Ren in 6 here to get a Black Cleave Cliffs because I don't want to take any damage. That's going in sideways. All right. This is at 3. I don't think there's anything wrong with waiting here. I'll attack with Bloodbraid Elf here in case they want to trade with Mantis Rider. This delays them from playing something at 2 anyway. We're gonna lose our Ren in 6 as well, but that's small price to pay to give another extra turn or so. I assume they will send these at us. They're gonna get this, so got a 1-2 in the air to kill. EE. And Fatal Push. All right. Dismember in 4 cards. One of them is Freebooter. I assume Freebooter might show up here. They did not have an extra Mantis Rider, but they weren't going to do that, I suppose. Champion's okay. We can block Champion. Okay. Kite Sail. And Dismember and an Unknown. All right. Can manage. Sort of. Because we can play Kroxa to get rid of one of the cards. We just have a 1-2 that I've got to deal with. Simple. Ooh. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I can't fetch here because I died to this unless I find something miraculous off Bloodbraid Elf. Let's go ahead and do Bloodbraid Elf though, because I think trying to maintain myself at 2 just feels healthier. I like the idea of Croxa, but Kitesail getting pumped randomly would kill us. So let's do this. Spin the wheel. No, I don't want to cast a Thoughtseize. Simply put, no. Let's attack with some Bloodbraid Elves. I think I'm good to attack with maybe Seasoned Pyromancer, but let's not, just in case they get Deputy of Detention plus something else here. All right, we connect. Go ahead, opponent. They can hit us for 1. I need this to not grow. Please don't grow. I've got nothing. Didn't play the Bloodstained Mire here. Not interested in it. Looking for a removal spell. No more Engineereds. We have bolts. We have pushes, abrupt decays, maelstrom pulses. We got a lot. Come on. One more. All right. We're in business. Here we can Croxa. Black, red, red, black. And we can abrupt decay. Let's take out... Let's make sure Goyf is as big as possible. We can take out 1 Planeswalker, 1 EE. They have lands, so I can take out all my lands. They have lots of creatures, so I can start taking creatures out. There we go. Croxa arrives. This might allow me to attack with a little bit more, depending on what they pitch here. Come on. The comeback king here. Dismember? Gets rid of the Dismember, so we have no idea what that last card is. Let's attack a couple Elementals and Bloodbraid Elves. I'm not quite ready to throw the Seasoned Pyromancer in. We have to be aggressive to some degree, but we have to be careful of Reflector Mages, Deputies of Detention, things like that. Gonna lose more than likely an Elemental here. Again, I feel safe to go ahead and have the Abrupt Decay for on their turn. Chump, 3, 6, 7, goes down to 12. Go ahead, opponent. I'm at 1. I'm at 1. No. What 3-drop do you have? Not a flyer, please. All right. Reflector Mage is okay. Glad I left 2 things back here. We're looking a little sketchy here. If they get another Reflector Mage, we're in trouble. We're in trouble for a few things. I should have not been so greedy. Do they just bounce a token here because they don't want to bounce any of these? That's another thing. We could have just attacked with the tokens. They bounce Croxa here. It's an interesting one to bounce. All right, we're definitely chumping. Oh, did I get too greedy? We'll find out. Top deck. I suppose Croxa kills in the crack back here. Oh, 2 mana? 2 mana, 2 mana. Thalia. I guess most efficient. Get rid of Freebooter here. Chump, chump. Okay. That's a big champion. I'd love to be able to kill the Reflector Mage, but we're just chumping and chumping. We're alive. Only just. Lightning Bolt. This is too big. Let's go ahead and deal damage to them. Red, red, black, black. Ugh, I don't have enough here. Is it smarter to Season Pyromancer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 mana for Bolt? It might be, actually. If I Bolt here, I can get in for 6. Deputy could show up, but I'd have 2 blockers. Oh. If they have another way to reflect the mage, that could be bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Can't quite do everything I want. Phantasmal would have to show up pre-combat. I think the safest thing here is probably Seasoned Pyromancer and Bolt. It may be just like Seasoned Pyromancer and Croxa, honestly, though. To get the Croxa into the yard. This protects from a Mantis Rider if I do it this way. I'm really fearful of a Mantis Rider. We have seen 2. This also kind of protects me from a Phantasmal hitting a Reflector Mage. I think this is the most passive thing to do here, because this is... we gotta win, right? We gotta win. Come on, we can do this. Need another Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay, Pulse. We have a 3-drop showing up. All right, fire away, 3-drop. Skyclave. Okay. Skyclave's interesting because I can shoot Skyclave and do Seasoned Pyromancer. This has to hit a 4-drop, and a 4-drop can trade with Champion, which is a dangerous card for us right now because it's a 4/4. Okay. So you hit a Bloodbraid. I'm going to let them obviously attack. Honestly, I might just do Seasoned Pyromancer now-ish. Because the Seasoned Pyromancer now kind of makes it look like I don't have anything else to do. Skyclave has to hit the Bloodbraid Elf for them. Best top deck could be potentially... It might be like a Bolt, honestly. Here, we'll even tap to make it look like I don't have Abrupt Decay. Just like, I'm trying to defend. Come at me. Yes. I want to get rid of this champion so bad. I could get rid of a lot of things here. How many do we want to go for here? All right, Bolting Skyclave. This gives me a 4/4. I could throw the 4/4 in front of one of these, and then just 2 things in front of the champion here. We could also chump the champion. 3, 6, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's not quite lethal. If I just chumped out. What if we did something like this? I hit back with 5 here. I'll have Illusionist and Expert Elemental, and they have a random Thalia. This seems actually okay to do it this way. I'm gonna do it this way. That way Skyclave's not really an out for them. And if they get another Thalia, it's super awkward for them. Oh, there's an Abrupt Decay. Okay. So I'm pretty safe now to go ahead and Croxa. This will deal damage. I don't think I have to attack here. We'll just pass, and if my opponent goes all the way through their turn, we'll be good. Might be worth attacking with the 4, actually. Abrupt Decay kills anything hasty, and then I chump block. they get like Reflector or something else, then I can Season Pyromancer. We need the 4 in. We need to close the story here. I don't see much that they could top deck here that would ruin this play. Not when I can kill, not when I can make tokens here with the Season Pyromancer. Easy chump block if they do nothing here. Nice. We'll go ahead and grab a Season Pyromancer. Inquisition, we can check the hand here. I like checking the hand. I like having the Abrupt Decay. We're good to go. We did it. We did it. Get out of the way, Thalia. We're going to take this Plains by force. In for 5, 6, 7. We won the match. Jund grinding out a tough one there against humans, but had just enough. Looking good so far. We'll see you in match 3. Match 3, and the Jund matches are doing what we need them to do. And that's winning. Got to Bloodbraid Elf. We got to spin into Tibalt, although it wasn't optimal, and it ended up being the loss. Is Tibalt worth it? Maybe. We'll see if we can get a little bit luckier. Again, we've increased this to 3 instead of having just 2. Oh well. Match 3 coming up, though. Playing that Jund. Playing that Bloodbraid. Trying to get some wins. Let's see and find our next opponent. Match found. Opponent number 3. Let's keep the streak up. Let's see what we can do. Let's play first. Opening hand looks pretty good here. We can get a Blood Crypt, check the hand, have a little bit of removal, and got Renin 6 to make our way to Bloodbraid Elf. It's a pretty good hand. Pretty good hand. Blood Crypt here, Inquisition our opponent, and what are we playing against? Lands. Here we go. The Emrakul has arrived. This is Tibalt's Trickery. Haven't played too much against it. This one's going to be a tough one for sure. We'll see. We'll see if they can cascade into what they need. Pretty much after this turn, if they just get it in hand when they draw it, they're good to go. Let's go ahead and Ren and 6. This will make sure we get all the way up to 4 mana here. Go ahead, opponent. We'll hope they don't top deck one of these. Fingers crossed. Don't have too much for this matchup. Not too much, if I'm honest. A lot of our removal doesn't make a lot of sense. We're just trying to do pretty basic things. I can't play discard really at instant speed, and my opponent has plenty of things here. It's not like we're going to be able to randomly discard the card. A Liliana on time maybe makes this game a little more interesting, but once again, we don't have K-Command, we don't have anything that snags something out of our opponent's hands. Basically, our opponent can play for free here and never have us interact. That being said, we'll just start beating them down. Let's go. We are at 15, makes us pretty dead to things. Not too worried about being dead to stuff. After all, they're just gonna cast these and get 2 turns with them and stuff. Bloodbraid away. Come on. Come on, Tibalt. Oh, I don't want you. Renin 6, get out of here. My opponent's calling for our Tibalt. They know what we're doing. We're doing the one half of Tibalt. You're doing the other half. Asking for no cascade from my opponent. Polluted Delta played here. In a way, I almost want the Renin 6 emblem, not necessarily for the Inquisition, but for the potential of bolts afterwards. I mean, we could. Should we? Do we have enough lands to make an Emrakul? I don't know if we do or not. I don't think we do, but it could be funny. It could be funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, we could play the other side. Do we care? Protection from spells that are one or more colors. This could exile the creature, but they're casting it, so they get to replay. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that I should just take this to steal an Emrakul here. My opponent's saying they're actually a living end list. Oh, Mystic Sanctuary here. Ooh, that's pretty good. I don't like that. I don't like that. I guess for fun. Well, look, Emrakuls. Maybe they'll just have all their Emrakuls in hand. Look, I stole Emrakul. Swing. I don't know, we could get lucky here. When they spin, maybe they're not completely only Emrakuls. Maybe there's something else. Spin. Oh my gosh. Magic Online breaking. It looks like they're just Emrakuls. Dang, Mystic Sanctuary to go get it. It's a pretty good one. They cast this. It says flying, right? I got nothing. Whee! So, Emrakul. I suppose if I could get them to discard the Emrakul, I could surgical it, so that's something we can try here. I'll give them the somewhat clean board. That's probably our best chance. Let's peek longer here. Emrakuls we saw Violence. I just see Violent Outbursts. Now we didn't see all of the list, obviously, but seeing nothing else here when they spun, it's pretty all in here. All right, so like Surgicals and maybe Ashiok. We can maybe boil them. If they try to do the Mystic Sanctuary, I could maybe boil them. Our removal is useless. Our Abrupt Decays are useless. Our Pulses are useless. So, I mean, like, it could just be Ashioks and Boils. And the Boils like, oh, I stole your thing and maybe. I know Surgical and Ashiok don't work together, but neither does really the Emrakul. We could try to get a Tibalt's Trickery and Surgical it as well. Let's try it. We have not much. Not much. Let's play first. All right, I'm gonna keep it because I can Thought Seize away. Hopefully they'll have to mulligan for it and they don't have two. Maybe I get a Liliana down, but I'm gonna be getting this Tarmogoyf down. Oh gosh, they kept 7. They kept 7. It's all over. Let's do an Overgrown Tomb, seems fine for the first one. Thought Seize. Hour of Promise. Summoner's Pact. Cryptic Command. I'm tempted to take this Cryptic Command here. I don't know what I care about for the Summoner's Pact. I'm gonna take the Cryptic Command. Like I said, we're gonna try to boil them. This hand scares me, but it's maybe not gonna do a whole lot to us. We'll hope. We'll hope. All right, we can exile a creature. I suppose that's something we can do. Get a Blood Crypt here. Obviously, we're taking a lot of damage. We'll play Tarmogoyf, pass the turn. Would love to play Liliana into maybe Boil here. The Garden. The Garden. They get a plant. Another Blood Crypt here. What if I Seasoned Pyromancer just trying to hit? Like, does this matter? Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. Let's Liliana uptick here, get rid of God of Lies. Love to Boil here. Maybe Seasoned Pyromancer works our way into it, but I guess that's where we're sitting here like, maybe this won't work for us. We'll just see. Summoner Pact ditched for my opponent. Obviously, they're working their way up to Mystic Sanctuary. Maybe I just like uptick and don't do anything here. What if Foothills is an interesting one for our opponent? Ooh. I have 2 good 4-drops here now too. Let's just get rid of the Seasoned Pyromancer. I'm going all in on the 4-drops here. We're gonna find that land. Gonna find that land. Mystic Sanctuary was just binned. We know 2 of the cards, Hour and Breeding Pool. We don't know the other 2. Come on, Boil. This is so all in. Triome. It's boilable. Boilable. Come on. Don't shock this in. Just slide it in tapped for me. Ugh. I guess that fetches. Come on, land. Ooh. We know it's Breeding Pool and something else. Let's check. Let's check. Let's see what's going on. Maybe I'll get to steal something. Who knows? Could be the greatest day. All right. We have Castle, Hour, and Breeding Pool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to get to Boil here. I'm going to go ahead and make them sacrifice the plant so they don't block this turn and swing. My opponent's got really nothing going on here. We've converted into a Primeval Titan list, so I'm glad I have my Ashiok's main. Sending 4 here. I fully expect Hour of Promise to be played here. I'm going to go to different Triome. My hope is that I can maybe downtick with Liliana and Boil them when they go for this. That is the hope. Hour of Promise. Breeding Pool, something else. Downtick, get rid of a zombie. 4, 5, 6. There has to be 2 different cards here. Mystic Sanctuary plus Field. Can't be 2 Field of the Deads. Scalding Tarn and a Field of the Dead. Oh, and then they get 2. Yes, yes, yes. Land. Come on. Come on. Oh my gosh. Man, if we would have hit that land. That Boil. That Boil. Let's go ahead and Inquisition here. Nothing of interest. We'll downtick here. Getting rid of a zombie. Swing for 4. If they don't block, a bolt off the top could be lethal. They do block. Seems reasonable since they will go get a land here. They're doing this on upkeep so they can grab anything. They'll probably grab just another Hour of Promise or Summoner Pact here. They choose Summoner Pact. My opponent's going from Tibalt into Titan. And I think this is really good for us. We didn't want to play this list. This one's been super hyped. They're going to get Dryad. Dryad's good here. They get the Valagut. All right, so Valakut here means 3 damage and token. So our Boil is like super live here. Super, super, super live. They decide to shoot Tarmogoyf. Oh, and then they play Breeding Pool. Okay. They shoot Tarmogoyf again. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 damage here. So our Boil's alive, so we don't die. But I'm not sure if we can win after. Well, and we never hit it. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, I just never find it. All right. A land off the top kills us. Pretty much any spell. Our top deck was going to be a surgical as well. Didn't run into that, unfortunately. Opponent attacks us twice and gets us. Well, there you have it. A true transformable sideboard plan from our opponent. Transforms from that crazy all-in to basically a Titan style of list. Pretty sweet. Does its thing. There you have it. Match 3 complete. We'll see you in match 4. Match 4 coming up here. Let's play some Magic. Tibalt's Trickery, huh? That is the other list. If you would be interested in seeing that list, let me know. I figure there's plenty of videos out there, so we decided to go with the other Tibalts, and that's why we're playing the Jund list today. Jund is also a little bit more received probably well on the channel. What are you going to do? It's actually good to see that list and begin to start to question and understand what you're going to do to sideboard. If you're going to bring in a lot of things to prevent the Tibalt's Trickery, and then your opponent just goes full on Valakut, then whoop, there you go. One of the hints there when we saw everything was they had quite a few island type of effects in the Mystic Sanctuary. So we'll see if that becomes a trend. That is one of the transformational sideboards that our opponents do switch into. Opponent found, though. Put it behind us. Match 4. Let's get a win. All right, funny man. 3133999999. Currently 2-1. On the play. On the draw. I want to be on the play. On the draw here. One land is really hard to keep here. We do have 2 draws at it. We'll risk it. We're gonna risk it, and everyone in the YouTube comments can be like, "No, don't do it." We got this. We got this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're gonna go get an Overgrown Tomb. We may not be bolting, but we've got some Tarmogoyfs. We'll see what we get to do. Remand and Growth Spiral. I'm going to take the Remand here. If I do top deck my land, I'd prefer to be playing Tarmogoyf into this. We'll see what our opponent's up to. This looks like some Uro matchup. Got that island played. Growth Spiral in hand. Land. Missed it. We'll attempt a Thoughtseize here. Opponent Growth Spirals. We don't have another thing to do here. We will get to steal something. A little Life from the Loam, which really doesn't do anything for us. Missing our land drop. That being said, we do have some nice Tarmogoyfs when we do find it. Castle's played. Double Mystic Sanctuary. Top deck land is needed. But we're reminded that we wanted to play Tarmogoyf, and now we have 4 of them. Mystic Sanctuary picks up a Remand here. Have we learned our lesson? Not necessarily. Uses Castle here to scry. It's kind of interesting. They put 1 on top and 1 on bottom. I'll get rid of a Bolt. Overgrown Tomb tapped. Guarantee you they have that Remand. We do find our land finally. We'll attempt a Tarmogoyf to start things off. This does get my opponent to draw 1. That being said, we've got the Tarmogoyf army coming. We've got it. We're going to win. Believe in us. Just imagine if we hit 2 lands in a row, we're going to be able to start playing double Tarmogoyfs. Field of the Dead for my opponent. Mystic Sanctuary, 2 unknowns. Maelstrom Pulse isn't a bad card to see. It is a way to get rid of a lot of zombies. Counter draw with a Cryptic Command. We're just going to put another Mystic Sanctuary down in Cryptic Command. Uh-oh, Growth Spirals. Mystic Sanctuary, Cryptic Command. Like I said, maybe we'll get to pulse them. This is definitely the Boil matchup, by the way. Lots of boilable lands. They put a Growth Spiral on top, puts a Breeding Pool in. Growth Spiral, unknown card for my opponent, and attacks for 4, puts us to 8. All right, Tarmogoyf, your chance to shine. Tarmogoyf, pass the turn. Does this stick finally? The answer is no. Cryptic Man, counter draw. They actually pick up Mystic Sanctuary. Draws with Growth Spiral. We can concede here. We got stuck on 2. We kept a 1-lander. Mystic Sanctuary in, Cryptic Command into hand. They swing for lethal. We're dead. We're dead. All right, Boils. Let's go. Boils, Veils. EE doesn't seem terrible. Ashiok doesn't seem terrible. Fatal Pushes do. 1 God of Lies can come out here. I'm thinking the Lightning Bolts. Is this overboarded? That is our question. Let's get rid of the Pulse here. One more. Kind of tempted to just take like an Inquisition. Let's do it. I know we're on the play and the discard's nice. I have a lot of cards I've brought in though, and I'm pretty happy about all the things I brought in. All right, 3 lands. We've got the Thoughtseizes. My opponent mulligans to 6. Let's hit him. Let's hit him. Should be good. We'll start the same way, Overgrown Tomb here. We're doing this to thin the library. You don't need a bunch of these Thoughtseizes going. Let's see here. We'll take the Growth Spiral for starters. It's a blue card, so we can prevent force. And we'll double Thoughtseize them. And hope we're Death Shadow at that point. Yeah, we're gonna double Thoughtseize. We're gonna double Thoughtseize. We're gonna take, what are we gonna take here? Growth Spiral, and then also take the Wilderness and leave them with the Blood Chiefs, which I can protect with the Tarmogoyf coming down. That way we get an enchantment in the yard too. It's looking pretty decent. Looking pretty decent. All right, lands. Let's go get a Stomping Grounds. Hopefully my opponent's not playing Bolt. Tarmogoyf here and pass the turn. Now that we've completely dismantled their hand, let's see if they want to interact with us. Protection? Don't remand this, please. Oh my gosh, they got the remand. Oh, Growth Spiral. Okay. Whew. Dodge. Dodge. Mystic Sanctuary. This is not in the graveyard yet. Gets another Growth Spiral after this one. No force coming. We're drawing. And protecting. We have a 4/5 here. And cycle Peatland. That'll be a good one coming up. Let's go. They have Growth Spiral coming, I think. Fatal Pushes Tarmogoyf. And 3 mana to Ashiok. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Considering I cannot fetch now. Well, we're going to do the only thing I think we can do here is put an Engineered on 3. Take care of Ashiok next turn. The fact that I have a Boil definitely will take that. Maybe get this Boil down. My opponent's going to go after our graveyard and everything again. Definitely want to get rid of this. Cool. All right, go ahead, opponent. What do you got for us? Question is, do we boil or blood braid? Sort of tempted to just boil. Do it on their upkeep. Give it a shot here. They might have some counters. Clear the counters, then try to blood braid. Oh my gosh. Looking all right. Oh, if we would have spun the wheel, we would have gotten, oh my gosh. Green, red. Spin the wheel, blood braid. Give us the good stuff. Tarmogoyf is pretty good. 3-2 and a 6-7 here. What do you got for us, opponent? Watery Grave. We got that Fatal Push again. Fatal Push is Tarmogoyf. We get to attack with Blood Braid. Looking okay. 3 turns to go here. Boil was fantastic. And my opponent concedes. Nice. Whew, another Blood Braid. What would we have spun into? Soul Guide Lantern. Nice. All right. I like that we have the 3 boils. That feels correct. EE got rid of the Ashiok. Let's go. Just send it. Just send it. Oh, Blood Braid spinning into God of Lies was a possibility there. It was the next card down. We chose to boil, though. The correct line. Opponent, 61 card special here. We're going to be on the draw. Let's see if we can triple Thoughtseize them again. Ooh, all right. We learned our lesson. 1-landers are bad. We'll mulligan this. No green sources. All green cards. Is this as bad as a 1-lander? It's pretty close. It's pretty close. No way we're going to be defending Tarmogoyf here. Let's mulligan again. Here we go. Here we go. All right, keep. Just get rid of Tarmogoyf. Something else? I don't know. Do I get rid of the Ashiok and a land here? Maybe like Raging Ravine, Blood Crypt, and Thoughtseize, and then try to get Tarmogoyfs down? Ashiok and Tarmogoyf don't exactly go together. My opponent does a lot of fetching, but let's go ahead and do this. I'd rather have 2 Tarmogoyfs than anything else here. We do top deck the land. That's all right, though. Let's do Overgrown 2. Not green, black. Thoughtseize. What do we got? We have a Remand, we have an Aether Gust, Fatal Pushes, Blood Chiefs. All right, we're gonna take the Remand because it draws them a card. The Aether Gust tempos us slightly here, but they can't actually cast the push and the Blood Chiefs. Oh, I could just wait a turn now. Let's just wait a turn. We can wait a turn, Inquisition them, and then Tarmogoyf once. They missed their top deck land. Good for us. Oh gosh. More Tarmogoyf. All the Tarmogoyf. Ooh, they do hit a Remand. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and play a Tarmogoyf down. If they try to do something with the Aether Gust here, I'll just put them on bottom. Field of Dead and Aether Gusts. So we can just bottom this pretty safely. Top deck land, and I go double Tarmogoyf here. Tarmogoyf 1, Tarmogoyf 2. So we have sorcery here. My opponent has all instants right now. There's an Ashiok. This kind of shrinks some things. Kind of. They're 1/2s. Okay. Let's go Inquisition. See what's going on here. We have an Abrupt Decay, Bloodchief Thirst, Fatal Push, and a Growth Spiral. These are all instants. I almost want to put a sorcery in here. Sorcery feels pretty okay to go ahead and do. I could put a creature as well. The creature's not a bad idea. Because if I put the creature in, they're not going to get the draw if they find the green. They get it off the Growth Spiral. They're going to need double green here. And then if I put a creature in the yard, then if they kill Renin 6 or my creature, then my Tarmogoyfs are even bigger. Minimum value with the Uro here. Let's go ahead and attack Ashiok once and them. I can then ping once as well. This puts a Planeswalker in the yard, which is sweet. Cool. All right, we got a chunky 4/5s here. Chunky 4/5s and my opponent's going, where's my green and black mana? Oh no! Oh no, opponent. Let's go combat here. I don't care if they have the force. I don't care. Get those lands in there. Boom. Boiled. Win. Boyle seems to be decent right now. We'll take that W here. Avoiding, we ended up screwing up game 1 with our 1-lander not having the right green mana. My opponent, unfortunately, did not learn the lesson by watching us. And they only had blue mana. Match 5 coming up. 3-1 overall. Could we snag a 4-1? Let's find out. Match 5, final round. Playing some Jund in Modern. Interesting Jund as well. Does God of Lies add anything to the list? Do we think it's worth trying to wheel into with Bloodbraid Elf? Is it worth just the smile on our faces with that opportunity? One more match to decide it. Match 5. Let's find our opponent. Match 5 opponent found. Let's go. Let's see what our opponent is playing. Let's see if we can Thoughtseize them to death like we did the last opponent. We are on the play. Jenny Fix It is our opponent. I like being on the play. Well, we have God of Lies. We have a Giganta. Alright, I'll keep this with Inquisition here. Definitely gonna fetch probably, oh, Gemstone Caverns. Okay, what are we gonna exile here? I'm a little nervous now. Aether Hub. Alright. Probably could go get a basic here. I'm gonna go get a Blood Crypt though. It seems safe to do so. We'll Inquisition them, see what's up. Maybe even be doing God of Lies to steal creatures. Who knows? Oh no! Opponent. I don't want to play this. Alright, on curve, we're going to try to hit it with the Bloodbraid Elf. Maybe I get this down on turn 2. With the idea that it's just a 2-1, and I need to smash my opponent for damage. This one's playing the Gemstone. Well, let's go for it. We're not getting the other side anytime soon here. Might as well work our way into this. The only thing this maybe doesn't play well into is if I top deck a Tarmogoyf, which would be a little bit beefier. But hey, we gotta take what we got. Clearly playing that Emrakul list again. Copperline for my opponents. What? Why do we have a Tarmogoyf here? Alright, next up is definitely Bloodbraid here. We have the Academy. So if a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to use a discard, you may reveal that card and put it on top of your library instead of putting it anywhere else. My opponent puts Giganta in hand. We unfortunately don't get to do this. I think I just want to hit for the most damage possible this turn. Spin the wheel, see what we end up running into. Inquisition, well, that doesn't really hit anything if I recall. Just Giganta things. We get to hit for 5, though. 5 if I top deck a land. I don't know what we do. I could have used God of Lies to steal this and then convert it to a 4/5. I'd rather them just play this down and I just pulse it away, though, I think. It seems like what this turn is probably going to be. Giganta here, kind of an interesting little nod. Let's cycle a Forgotten Cave. Pretty safe to do this. Extra Tarmogoyf. Let's go ahead and remove Giganta and attack for 5. And then I can put down a Tarmogoyf here, which will be a 4/5. We get them in 3 turn. Yeah, 1 turn, then 2, then 3. So we got them in 2 swings here. Will they find the cascading card? Snow-covered forest. Woo. Play a Tarmogoyf here. We'll make them pitch. Actually, making them pitch here is kind of interesting, because pitching here, my opponent very well could take 3 damage here, and this is 5 from God and Bloodbraid. I am curious how all in they're going to be in games 2 and 3 here. Fingers crossed they pitch Aether Hub or some other land here and we attack when we get there. It was the Aether Hub. 5 damage in, and do we win? Turn 6. There you go. All right. Turn 6. My opponent has this Academy. We're seeing this a little bit from some of the deck lists that we've seen out there. It makes it interesting because it makes you go, do we want to play discard or not? The answer is almost always going to still be yes, but you have to be aware that you might need a Surgical as well. I don't believe we saw these types of lands from my last opponent, so we won't assume a complete change into some sort of Titan list. So we're going to make a similar sideboard decision here. Surgical's in. I do like the idea of potentially Ashiok here as well. I don't know if a Veil makes sense. Boil does not make as much sense here. Surgical's, Ashiok's, definitely Fatal Push is taken. Probably a Lightning Bolt. Actually, let's keep the Lightning Bolt. Let's get rid of 1 Soul Guide Lantern. This becomes the question of, do I have one more thing I'd like to do versus a Soul Guide Lantern? Veil is kind of interesting, but not necessarily what's going to be happening. I don't know if Cleansing Wildfire would mess them up enough. I'm pretty sure they have a few basics in there. I think we're pretty good with what we have. We know that we have to beat them quickly. We need to be sure that they're not getting something on turn 2 or 3 here. And so we need all of our discord. Maybe get to mill them out of the cards that win it. Who knows? Opening hand looks reasonable. Let's keep. Let's see what happens. The worst land for us to see is that Academy. Do we bring a Cleansing Wildfire in for a potential kill on an Academy? I highly doubt it. Alright, we've kept, my opponent also kept 7. Battle of the Sevens. I will lead with Thoughtseize, as I believe it's more important to do this over Inquisition, because I want to take anything that I see. We could also Inquisition, actually, Thoughtseize, and try to hit a Emrakul with a Surgical off the top. Let's go that line instead. Inquisition first, planning the Thoughtseize. All right, my opponent's got a million lands again. So I don't think we'll Thoughtseize, but we could, and Forgotten Cave as well. Not a whole lot I could do other than literally stealing the card this one last time. When they did this last time, they put a card on top. So I may actually go Thoughtseize one more time here. So Thoughtseize one more time since they did put a card on top. Nothing to see here. We'll pass the turn. Not entirely sure I should Forgotten Cave or not. We'll see. There's a garden. gonna wait. All right. I get to draw one more deeper here if I play the Wrenn 6, or I can try to Blood Braid on curve. Let's go ahead and cycle and forest Wrenn 6 here. Okay, we have an Inquisition. The best thing this is gonna ever do is steal something that they don't. Oops. Shoot. No, we're good. Are we? No. Yeah, my opponent's on the play. We're good. It was active because it has an ability to cycle. All right, Violent Outburst here. I'm assuming this is straight into Emrakul. This is into Trickery into Emrakul. You can see the list is basically just Emrakul. So we know this is what we've got to do. We need that Surgical. We need to be able to hit the Emrakul if we're lucky enough. It's kind of interesting because off Tibalt's Trickery, you could hit an Emrakul, which you could hit. It's kind of weird. Doesn't mean it's going to stop anything. All right. Well, my opponent smashes us with Emrakul and then smashes us again. All right, let's see what we can do in game number 3. Any changes? Probably not. I'm going to go 1 Cleansing Wildfire over the Soul Guide Lantern. In case they have that at Academy. I don't think that's really necessary. Let's find out. Let's find out together. Thoughtseize Surgical. Thoughtseizing them. Surgicaling away a piece. That's what I want to be doing. Well, let's play first. 5th and final match here. This hand just doesn't feel like it's going to do it. We have a Wrenn 6 or Tarmogoyf. Let's mulligan looking for discard. Well, we have a Cleansing Wildfire. And we also have a Liliana. I'm on the play. Better, but I think we could get better than this. Let's mulligan again. All right. I'm going to take this one. Not worried about Bolt. We'll keep Peatland. Fetch Shock. I'm going to start with an Inquisition here. Trying to take a Violent Outburst. We do. We hit it before the Academy. It's great. Good stuff. We'll take a few draws here trying to find a Surgical Extraction. Let's go ahead and get these Tarmogoyf down. Got to start beating in, that's for sure. Funny enough, Tarmogoyf is not typically that large in this matchup. There's just not enough cards flying back and forth. Instants, sorceries, stuff like that. That's about all that ends up in here because the creatures don't stay here very long. All right, an Academy has been played. I need a Surgical, basically. Surgical? Extra Tarmogoyf. So I could play another Tarmogoyf here. My opponent decides to block with a plant. To me, that means they don't quite have it yet. Interesting. Even if I discard, it's just going back on top. Let's play new Tarmogoyf here and pass turn. Next turn I can cycle Peatland and go for the Thoughtseize. Maybe they have one of their like Emrakuls or something. Really not a lot I can do against the Academy. Alright, it was a tap land. It's another blocker. Can respect that. Double Thoughtseize. Alright, let's go combat here. I'm going to use this Peatland to draw and then use 1 Thoughtseize. Looking for our Surgical, as previously mentioned. Let's take a peek. What's going on, opponent? A Tibalt's Trickery. All right. They can decide if they want to put that. They discard it to the top of their library. This is interesting because this goes, let's see here. If a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard, you may. So they decided to put it back on top. I don't understand why they would do that. Now they just have a bunch of lands. Copper line. Okay. They can't even cast the Tibalt's Trickery. We're hitting for 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I had a Planeswalker, I thought seize myself to grow these. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. Do I just thought seize again to see if they want to do that again and put it back on top? Puts Gigantha into hand. All right, well, I can definitely thought seize the Gigantha away. After all, we don't want that in our way. So thought seize again. So we just have a Tibalt's Trickery to worry about. Connect for 6. That's 12 over the 2 turns plus Bolt. We're not lethal yet. Gigantha was taken. Never mind. They revealed it and put it back on top. So we have a Gigantha again. Plays another Academy. So they play Gigantha. Then I just bolt one of the Giganthas. Hopefully top decking 2 lands and getting Rage Ravine in 2 turns. Do they think they can Tibalt's Trickery their Gigantha? I don't think that's worth waiting for. There it is, the 5/5. There's land number 1. I'll swing with the team. Block, and we'll just bolt this, obviously. Okay. They need to probably top deck here, I would guess, because this is now a 4/5. It's 2 turns. Tibalt's Trickery and some lands. Stomping Ground, tapped. Top deck land and we win. Surgical. I'm going to hit for 4, and I think here I have to Surgical the Violent Outburst with the idea that this gets rid of more potential hits for my opponent. My opponent may Tibalt's Trickery this in response, which will spin the wheel into potentially something else for me, giving them 3 hits or more. I'm sure they have another Cascade here. I would like to steal this, and I'm not waiting until their draw phase here, because they can get it and play it at instant speed. Tibalt's Trickery. All right. We mill Croxa this, and get another Tarmogoyf. I can't cast the Crocs out of the yard. We have 2 Tarmogoyfs. Good luck, opponent. They concede. They concede. Is that an early concede? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What if they get the Violent Outburst? I'm so confused. 4-1. Jund. We'll see you in the conclusion. Jund secures a 4-1 here, and Jund does what Jund does. Pretty good results, and we ended up running into the Emrakul Tibalt's Trickery list twice, losing once, being our only loss, when they converted into a Primeval Titan list, and then winning one, having to battle through an Academy as well. I think it was a mistake when we did take the Tibalt's Trickery for them to put it back on top. After all, they weren't getting to draw any further down. List looks sweet. We did Bloodbraid Elf into Tibalt. We did that at least once. It was when we were conceding to humans, but hey, it's kind of cool, kind of fun. And maybe just at 4 mana, you spin in and you get it, you're good to go. Interesting enough, God of Lies can actually be a little bit of a tempo play, being able to steal some of your human creatures or other creatures. In this case, it was humans. I don't know if my opponent realized that when it leaves the battlefield, they got it back. That's something that people will have to learn as we play against the card, and a good learning opportunity not only for opponents, but ourselves in this league. My change at the very beginning, 1 Kroxa out, 1 God of Lies in. I would go ahead and swap that and probably play something like this. Jund does its Jund thing, puts the creatures in, puts them in sideways, attacks your opponents. Boil was great. Engineer Explosives did its thing. It's just a good all-around list. We all joke about that's what Jund does. You just saw it. Thank you all for watching. It's been my pleasure to give you this YouTube exclusive here on the channel. Hopefully you've liked or subscribed, and if not, please consider clicking those. It does support our channel. Until next time, everyone, we'll see you either on stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday around 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, or back here on the channel. Till then, take care. We'll see you in the next matches.